I'm Samantha Bryant. I'm best known for writing the menopausal superhero series, but today I'm going to read from my WIP. The piece I'm working on right now has a working title of Thursday's Children. It's intended to be a young adult a kind of dystopian novel with romance elements. And so I'm going to read the second chapter, what is currently the second chapter of the book. Who knows by the time I'm done, right? But currently the second chapter of the book, which introduces one of the two male leads, Jason. And I'll see if it can speak for itself, okay? Waffles take too long. Jason's father plopped the bag of flour down on the counter, dusting his bathrobe as he paced back to the table. If we have pancakes, I can cook them all at the same time on the griddle. We haven't had waffles in forever, though. Mom was the one who always made waffles. She used to wake up early sometimes and surprise them both with waffles, bacon, and coffee. The smells would waft through the house, the very best sort of morning alarm. Jason could still remember it, though his mom had been missing for years now. Just think of it, all those little pockets, just perfect for holding the butter and syrup. His dad turned back to the counter, sighing and shaking his head, a sure sign he was about to cave. He moved some of the storage containers aside to make a clear spot on the counter. All right, but you'll have to clean the waffle iron. Jason leaned back in his chair, enjoying his victory, even if it came at cost of later chores. He wondered if he should push for bacon and coffee, too. The knock at the kitchen door startled them both. Though it was late for breakfast, it was early for anyone to come by, and no one was expected today, though a knock at the kitchen door usually indicated a friend. No Spanish lessons with the homeschool group for Jason, no meetings for his dad. They'd expected another quiet day of just the two of them, like the hundreds of others they had shared since his mother had been trapped by the embargo when he was 10. It had been just the two of them for 6 years now, with news of his mother coming in rumors and occasional messages. Though they had appealed to the government many times, her travel visa was never approved, and she remained in Afghanistan. Her tour with Doctors Without Borders had now become her life. Her messages always said she was safe and that she missed them, and Jason longed to know what her days were really like. The knock sounded again, a quick rap of knuckles, no musicality in the pattern. His dad handed over the spoon for Jason to take over stirring the waffle batter. After securing his bathrobe and wiping his hands across his head to smooth down his longish hair, he shuffled to the kitchen door. Nothing about the scene set off Jason's radar or warned him of what was to come. It all seemed so ordinary. He was thinking he should remind his dad to get a haircut. He looked raggedy and unkempt, and that didn't go over well with the suits at Ballinger. Dad wasn't good about keeping up his physical appearance without Mom there to comment. Of course, Jason was one to talk. His own blonde hair hung down into his eyes and touched the top of his collar. He liked it that way. It let him hide his face when he wanted to. He sprayed the waffle iron with coconut oil and dolloped out the batter, then set the cook time. Behind him, he could hear his father talking quietly with someone at the door. Was it a salesman? Jason froze when he heard his father say, "But what about my son?" His usually booming voice warbled. The waffle suddenly smelled sour. Dad? Jason's heart seemed to leap into his throat, leaving him breathless, like he was choking. His father turned then and looked at him, one hand still on the door, holding it so that Jason couldn't see who was on the other side. His expression hollowed Jason out, frightening him in its hopeless despair. His dad suddenly looked about 90 years old, frail and broken. Jason took a step, the mixing bowl still in his hands. His dad's eyes had gone watery, and his jaw trembled like there was something he wanted to say. Then the door kicked wide open, and two men in tactical gear had his father by the elbows, dragging him through the door. "Dad!" Jason rushed towards the door, dropping the ceramic bowl on the floor, sloshing uncooked batter on his shoes and across the tile. It seemed to take years to cross the few feet, and when he got there, the doorframe was filled by a tall man in a dark suit so large he nearly blocked the view. Jason tried to push around him and caught a glimpse of his father being lifted into the back of a van, limp as an uncooked fish. He had a moment to wonder if his dad was unconscious or dead. Then a wall of suited chest loomed between him and the door, and he was unceremoniously shoved back into the kitchen. "Sit down, kid." The man took off his mirrored sunglasses and tucked them into his breast pocket, a gesture that didn't make his face seem any more open or friendly. The eyes were as cold and metallic as the lenses had been. Jason didn't move, just stood there frozen. The man pulled out one of the kitchen chairs and indicated it with a beefy hand. "Sit down, kid." Jason obeyed. His knees went slack, so sitting was more like falling, and the chair rocked noisily. Jason gripped the table edge, grateful for the solidity of the wood. The waffle iron beeped, but the man held out a hand before Jason could rise. Stepping carefully around the batter mess on the floor, he unplugged the device. He didn't open it. The waffle would get glued to the iron left there like that, Jason thought. It would be ruined. Later, Jason couldn't really recall much of what the man said, not even what his name was, if he'd given it. He knew that the man's eyes were calculating, even though his words were kind enough. Reassurances that all would be taken care of, that there was a place for him, that the EBC took care of those orphaned by the mistakes of their parents. He didn't remember what he had gathered into the suitcase he'd been directed to pack, or if he'd locked the door. But he remembered his father's head lolling as he was manhandled into the van, and he remembered the license plate number.